everybody. Welcome to Season 6, Episode 1 of Cap and Gown. I'm Rachel Phillips-Buck, VP for Student Success at Ferris Resources, joined today by our president, Matt Boisvert. Hey, Matt.
Hi, Rachel. I had to put you on the other side. It's like
I know, you're used to me being on that side. That's okay. I'm so excited for us to start our 6th season. Matt, you and I have had a lot of travel this summer, and it's been so fun to go and visit people who listen to us. So if you're new, thank you for joining us. If you are an old faithful, we appreciate you listening to us in the car or watching us on YouTube or LinkedIn or however else you do that. We did have quite a summer of travel. I just want to tell you, since the last time we had our podcast, which was in May, we ran our boot camp, which is our 2-day intensive, learn lots of new things for our clients, which was incredible. It's always fun to do that. We also did a new release, the Phoenix release, which was about faculty and frontline interface, which was super fun to kind of remake all of that. That's been a long time in the making. And so happy to push that out. Also, Matt, you and I went to Texas Lutheran to see our friend Sakura and talk about what's happening on that campus, which was a nice event. Although we took her to lunch, and the way we got to lunch was like down an alley, and I'm pretty sure she was scared for a minute.
Where are you taking me?
Where are we going? But we had a great lunch with her.
We did.
Then we also went up to the Pacific Northwest to George Fox for ACSD, which is always a lovely time, especially in such a beautiful place.
Newberg, Oregon. Beautiful.
Lovely. Yeah, it was incredible. And then we've just come back from Nebraska to see our friends there at Chadron State. They put on an Eagle Success Summit, which was so well done. We're trying to get Chantel to write like a manual about how you can do this on your campus. They had 200 faculty and staff join us for the Friday before Labor Day, which is really saying something about their commitment to student success. We got to do some training with them, and I got to do their closing session for that day. So that was really, people in Nebraska are very nice.
Yeah, I really love the town. It's just good people, really neat school. You know, our favorite thing to do is talk to students when we're on a campus. Yeah. And Chantel set us up on a tour. So we got to tour around with 2 of their students and hear all about their experience. And they had no idea of like the kind what we do, and so as we're just kind of drilling in and asking them some, kind of specific questions, it's just neat to hear about that experience that they have. So
just very positive, and they like everything about the school, and they really appreciate their faculty and staff. And so always really good to be on a campus and be reminded of just the energy that goes on your campuses. Although I will tell you, Matt, I think for most of our listeners, we've passed that like moving in day, which is, all the excitement and the freshmen come, and then this is a place where you start to feel a little like, okay, here we go, right? Like this is for real. We're always talking about the rhythm of the academic year. If you do not subscribe to Rachel Elam's newsletter around the rhythm of the academic year, I would highly recommend it. We're thinking about September now, which the theme of September is settling in. So like the new start is kind of over. Now we're settling in. We are expecting now homesickness to kind of start to come around. Some realization, like you actually live here now. It's not like summer camp. Like this is where you're going to be. Right. So you want to be looking for students who maybe are not making that transition socially, are not integrated socially yet. Also, the students who are going home every weekend, got to keep an eye out for them, right? Because that means they're kind of one foot in of both worlds, which is really important. And then later this month, likely a lot of you will be doing your stoplight surveys. So that's always a great process to get that first pulse of what's happening for our students academically. So,
and I'll add to as far as rhythm for September. So now that I have a senior in college and reflecting back, it's kind of like this bittersweet looking forward to this year, but it's also this feeling of it's your last year. So there's kind of, not at a place of regrets. It's like, I've got a lot more to do before I have to go into the real world. So
yeah, for sure.
I think that's an interesting, I just went to a gathering of seniors, and you can just kind of see it on their face of like their seriousness as they start this new year.
Absolutely. A couple of other chit-chatty things for you. So one is anyone who has listened to us for any amount of time knows that September is the time where we take the grade on how your Colorado fishing trip went in August. And so everybody, I think mostly is tuning in today so that they can hear how you did in your fishing. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, thanks, Bailey. Well done. So look, at this time last year, I was in the lead. I had 2 nice fish. So for those of you who don't know, my family has a trophy. And it's not just like my family, but my if you're a Carter, my mom's maiden name, then you're included. But anyway, this year I had a great day, probably the best day fishing in my life. Over 30 fish caught in one day. I caught an 18, a 17, 2 16s, a 15, 2 14s. It was just like full of really nice trout.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Right now I am in the lead with the largest trout, but I expect that'll fall because it's only an 18-incher.
So how long does it go? Like when's the cutoff? December? But you're not catching fish in December.
I'm not. But
is anyone?
Not really. Oh, I mean, okay. really, it'll come to an end at the end of this month. So last year it was around September 23rd.
Okay.
Pretty sure that's the day that I got beat. But
not that anyone's counting.
Not that anyone's counting. So there's a little bit of time left. But let me just say, for me, it was just a great it was a great time, and you can see that I got my oldest 2 in the stream at the same time, and so Ella and Aiden joined me, and
good family event.
I haven't been able to work with Ella in a long time on the stream, and her cast is great, and so we had a lot of fun.
Yes, good, yeah. Super fun. Let's see. I told you I have had the experience this week of dropping my 8th grader off at the mall.
Yeah. So in small town America, if you're curious, the mall is still alive, but not really.
No, it is, Matt. When's the last time you went on a Saturday at 3:00? Because holy moly.
Really?
There's so many people there. Yeah. Okay, so right. I just mark that as in the same week I dropped her off at a high school football game and then also at the mall. And I'm marking this as like the moving towards a more independent way of being. So yeah. I may or may not have cried about it, but I'm feeling happy about it now. I'm very glad we want her to keep progressing.
Yeah. So it's good. So you have that, but also you had a 22-hour drive to California and back.
Oh yeah, I did. Our CIO, who is one of my dear family friends, he and his wife celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. Awesome. But it fell right before I had to take Lillian back to school. So Clint and Lillian and I drove 22 hours, spent 36 hours in California, and then drove 22 hours back, which I like driving, so I'm not sad about it, but it is maybe something not everyone could say they have done,
I have never driven that long, and yeah. I've driven to Seattle and back.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I feel like that's some good catching up that we've done. So before I say this, because I know Bailey's going to be quick on our graphic, I am not going to recap the State of the Union since May. I'm just going to recap it since the beginning of August. Is that okay with everyone? Because otherwise, that's all we do today is I just tell you everything that's happened for the last 3 months. So let's dig into the State of the Union. All right. Lots of things to talk about. We've got a lot of just like laws and political stuff going on. And we've got a lot of questions about federal funding and about what's going to happen to Pell Grants and what's happening to our international students. And there's just a lot of sort of mixture in there, which, I don't like to talk about it until it's settled, because a lot of times there's just nobody knows really what's going on. And there's a lot of anxiety and fear. And then sometimes it turns out to be warranted and sometimes it doesn't. So I will keep those sorts of things. You guys can do your own research about it. But I do want to talk about the business of higher education, because our focus is always about student success and how we can clear a pathway for students to be successful in their endeavors. So the first article I want to talk to you about is out of Inside Higher Ed, and it's called Research Around Equity Gaps in Academic Advising. So this is a very, very interesting article that's coming out of some research that was done at a large public research institution. The total enrollment at this institution is 80,000 students. So think like big, like really big, right? So they did a survey around students, and they found out, first of all, students of color and international students are more likely to participate in advising appointments, but they're still graduating at lower rates than their white peers. So part of this article is about, it maybe is not so much about them taking advantage of those services, because they are doing that. It's just that we haven't developed a good holistic way of using advising to help coach those students through. So, Matt, I'm thinking about some of the work that we do around advising. We just had a great conversation with a room full of advisors. I'm thinking about, how do we tease apart degree plan specialist, which is very, very important. It's the way we get our students to graduate on time. And then this other part of advising, which I call success coaching, which is a holistic, I'm your person, any question you have, come and see me and we'll figure it out. And then there's this third element, which is sort of around major and industry specialty, where your faculty can speak into like, and here's what this looks like and where you're going to get a job. And I can introduce you to the right people and make sure you have the right internship opportunities. But I think all three of those have to be sort of woven together in a way that makes sense, because any one of them independently is not good enough, right? It's not setting students up for success.
So one thing that I want to say about this article, and Bailey, if you can pull that QR code back up, the thing that stands out to me, Rachel, is as you were describing this large institution and participation from these students, but not seeing the results. I think it'd be really good if you're at a different kind of institution to compare your results to this large institution's results, because the case is, as we run Spark reports for schools, sometimes our schools see, not only an improvement, but true equity in the graduation of students who participate regardless of ethnicity. So I think it would be important for you just to understand, like, here's a framework or a rubric of looking at it, and then compare where you're at. Certainly, overall, a lot of work needs to be done to provide exactly what you said, Rachel. We need to have really intentional guidance all the way through the process.
Yeah,
It's not just degree planning that's going to help, but having this holistic approach. So if you feel like you're doing a great job at your school, but you haven't measured it, please measure it. If you feel like it's not going as well as it should, measure it, so that you can hold that out and say, we have to get better at this.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some of the stats coming out of this article, 8% of students said they had received no assistance from their advisor since starting college. 5% said they had never met with their academic advisor. 23% said they have to set up meetings with their academic advisor if they want to meet. And then 10% said it was difficult to get an appointment with their academic advisor. That is the pessimistic view of all of those things. If you take those numbers and subtract them from 100, right? 92% of students are receiving assistance. 95% of them are meeting. So I think there's a lot of good support. It's just what we do in those meetings. And Matt, when we were meeting with our advisors, one of the things we said is that you can give your advisors a set of questions to encourage meaningful conversation. So around rhythm of the academic year, how are you feeling? Are you feeling homesick? How often have you gone home? How are you adjusting to your classes? Because there's just an artfulness to how we show up for our students. We don't want to be like, how many siblings do you have and where are you from and how long have you lived there, right? But we do want to understand their context and what they're bringing. And so I think that here's a set of questions around what they're experiencing now could be really, really helpful. Also, let me just say that the advisors at this school have a caseload of 400 students. So I think we found part of the problem.
I don't know. I mean, that was our caseload in the College of Business at ECU.
For one counselor, you had 400 students?
Advising. 1
Okay,
to
well,
400.
I'm spoiled because I only had 200 students, and that is the right number, in my opinion, humble opinion. Okay, another thing that I think is super helpful for us to think about as the semester is getting started, I was reminded by this actually by Kimberly Thornberry, who we love and is so amazing. She posted this on LinkedIn. It's a New York Times article that's called "The Typical College Student is Not Who You Think." And I want to spend just a few minutes on this because I really appreciate the opening to this article says, there are more than 19 million college students in the United States. Most are well removed from academia's corridors of wealth and power, cavernous football stadiums, and carefree nights hanging out in dorms, which I think is so important to just remind ourselves of the sort of traditional college student, which is harder and harder to find. And Matt, so much of what's happening in the news is about these really big institutions with gigantic endowments, right? Who have a lot of research, like R1 institutions. And I think our listeners tend to not be associated with those kinds of schools. It's a smaller school. It's a little bit more personal, a little bit more engaged. And so I just want to give you some statistics about college students in the United States now. First of all, 43% of undergraduates attend community college. So there are 4,000 community college granting schools. 9 million students are enrolled in those community colleges, which is about 43% of Americans' undergraduates, which is really amazing. 75% of community college students are enrolled part-time, which I think about Dr. Nancy Schenkel and all of the work that she's doing to make sure that students who are at community colleges then continue on with a full-time degree. Because one of the hardships is it can be a very slow and sort of meandering pace if you're just taking one class at a time, or if it's not kind of your full-time brain space, right? You're just doing the best that you can as you go through. So it's pretty amazing. 20% of all undergraduate students are parents. And of the 1.4 million undergraduate students with children, of the 20% of undergraduate students that are parents, 1.4 million of them are single mothers. So we've talked a lot about how a school can support and provide the kind of help that a single mother would need. 10.3 million students take at least some classes online. And 26% of students take classes exclusively online. That's up from 11% a decade ago. So we're not confused that is a huge selling point, especially for our non-traditional students.
One thing that was really interesting when we were at Shadron and speaking with faculty, and so they have students who are like hybrid, have some online classes. And for the faculty teaching those online classes, they're seeing it now, a few years into it, the importance of, so how do I connect with these students outside of, just this online coursework? What are ways that I could be really thoughtful and engaging with them, getting to know them in a deeper way or more personal way?
Yeah, it's funny, Matt, as you're saying that, we always talk about quiet students who are not raising their hand to receive help, but you can be really quiet on an online class, right? I mean, you can just be like an ether, not even around in those classes. And so how do we identify those students, I think, is a great question. Okay, a couple more for you. 25% of all undergraduate students live with their parents, which is helpful to remember because oftentimes living with your family comes with other responsibilities, things that you have to take care of besides your schoolwork. And then the average student is $19,000 in debt, although 10.8 million students owe more than $44,000. So just a really good reminder of who our students are, the kind of support that they need, the experience that they're having. I think I told you in this article, it says 41 million people attended college but never graduated.
It's incredible.
Pretty remarkable. And we've seen a lot of schools. I'm thinking about, is it El Paso, University
UTSA,
of Texas?
San Antonio.
UTSA that does a great job of going and finding those students and being like, why didn't you finish? And we've said before, sometimes it's like I had a parking ticket that I couldn't pay. And so they wouldn't let me buy my books or whatever. And it's like, okay, let's address that, shall we?
That's exactly where my brain went when you said 41 million. I was like, and how many of those quit because they had a parking ticket that they didn't pay?
Yeah.
And so they weren't able to register. And then they just gave up. One thing that I love about this, so this article, again, if you just went through and you identified these different populations that you talked about, these are like, how can we solve problems for each of these groups, right?
Yeah.
So if we're working with a lot of part-time students, what are the challenges there? Or commuting students, or students who are living with their parents, or single moms who are trying to earn their degree? Like, each one of these sets up a kind of a, how do we solve this problem? How do we make it so that they feel like they belong? We have the resources to support them all the way through to graduation. We're not just here to take their money, but we actually believe that they can be, that they can achieve this. And that's why we admitted them. So
yeah, it's great.
It's really good.
Okay. Well, in some negative news, there's an article in Higher Ed Dive, which says half of college students rate their mental health as fair, poor, or terrible, according to a recent survey from the Steve Fund, which is a nonprofit focused on mental health. It also found that 40% of students were very or extremely stressed about maintaining their mental health. And this article really talks about not just higher levels of stress, but actually a rising sense of disconnection, which we know is just incredibly hard for college students. So if they don't feel like they belong, if they don't have a sense of community, if there aren't people there who are paying attention to them, it's really, really difficult to get them engaged. And so when students struggle with these mental health issues, half of them consider reducing their course load, 40% of them consider transferring to a different school, and 30% of them consider dropping out altogether. So really, really stressful. I think the good news that this article pulls out is that schools have a lot more resources than they did even 5 years ago to support this. So we were just on a campus where they had 3 different counselors and they were outsourcing some of it. And it was a great, resourcing of that problem in particular, which we have seen for lots of years, but just hard to think about how difficult it is sometimes for our college students. And let's remember, Matt, you and I were just talking to somebody about, is it too late to talk about COVID? Like, should we take out our references to COVID because it happened a while ago? And we were saying, yeah, but every student has a place where they are missing something because of COVID, right? If they were 12, they didn't develop this thing because they weren't in school, or if they were 15 or if they were 16, like every building block of growing up can be affected. And so you're going to have students who were in preschool in COVID, and they are going to have things that they've got to still continue to make up. And so just thinking that through and that hardship, I think is really important.
There are some states, so Dr. Lori Schreiner was talking about it, where, for 2 years it was all online. They weren't around. They didn't have the social development. So yeah, I can understand this. And I think I'm grateful for some of those outsourced companies or resources that exist for campuses to be able to handle this load.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take a while for this to go away, if it ever does.
Sure. That's right.
I mean, we saw it, I would say, pre-COVID, in the 4 years prior to COVID, we saw this starting to ramp
Absolutely.
up. And so even if it comes back down to 2016 levels, that was 4 times higher than it was in 2010. So
yeah. That's right. It's fun to hear our faculty and staff talk about how open students are about counseling, that they just are willing to say like, yes, and I went to counseling, and there really isn't that same sort of stigma. Yeah. So the freedom to be able to talk about that's part of being a healthy person, I think is awesome. It does cause some hardship, I think, for schools to be able to keep up with it. All right, I have a couple more for you. This one I think is so interesting. 36 selective colleges are facing an antitrust lawsuit that alleges they use early decision admissions to reduce competition and financial aid packages for students. So just so we have a clarity of terms, what I'm talking about, this is where you can apply to college early, but schools say like, okay, if you apply early decision and you get accepted, then you have to come here. It's legally binding. You have to come here. And oftentimes they aren't delivering financial packages yet, right? So it's just like, are you going to come? Yes, I promise. Okay. And then down the line, they'll say, and here's what the scholarship is or what the cost is going to be. Well, this antitrust is like, hey, that first of all, you shouldn't be able to do that. We're going to sue for damages and we're going to make it illegal to have these early decisions, because although they're often marketed as giving students a better chance of getting accepted, for example, Brown University accepted 18% of prospective students who applied through early decision, but only 4% of those who applied the regular way. So they might say to a student like, you for sure want to do this because the acceptance rate is higher. Actually, what it means is you don't know how much it costs, and you're signing a agreement that PS is not legally binding. So they make it sound like it's legally binding.
They make it feel like it's
legally binding. They talk a lot about like, okay, you're going to sign this and you have to have your parents sign it and you have to have your college counselor sign it. And it's like super official, but it doesn't actually mean anything. It's like buying a car when they go and they're like, hey, will you sign your name? Will you buy this car? And you're like, yes, but it's not anything. Right. So I'm actually really, really hopeful.
Hold on, Rachel. Just to be clear, what Rachel's talking about is the practice of, hey, I'm going to write on the sticky note this number, and you're agreeing that I can take this to the manager. If you'll just initial this, then I can take it to that. When you sign the actual legal documents, it matters.
Well,
but in this case, this is like the sticky note.
It's made up. It's a made up piece of paper that you're signing that doesn't actually mean anything. And co-defendants in this antitrust lawsuit are the Common App and Score, which is another application platform. They're in this lawsuit because not only do they require applicants to sign early decision documents, kind of facilitating that between the student and the school, but also the platform bars students from submitting more than one early decision letter. So if you signed it with somebody, they're like, okay, well, that's binding. Now you have to go there. We're not going to let you agree to go somewhere else. So I think that will be really, really interesting. It's a weird psychological scarcity. It's like weird.
It's commitment and consistency. This is right. Like, this is a weapon of influence. So.
Right. That's right. And don't even get me started on first generation, right? Can you imagine, like, if you haven't gone to college and you're trying to get your son or daughter to go to college and all of this legally binding language is coming and you're just at a disadvantage because you don't know that you can't be like, that's dumb. I'm not doing that. Right.
What did you call it? The patina of legal?
Yeah. Patina of legal. I think that was in the article, but it's a good one. Like, it's like smoke and mirrors legal. Right.
Well, it is absolutely. If you're not familiar with the game.
Yeah. You're going to lose. Yeah. All right. I have, my favorite student voice surveys.
Oh, yeah.
I don't recommend you read this article.
You didn't even ask me to interpret this one.
No, so when I get into it, I'm always like, what the heck are they talking about? But this is a survey they did on AI. And basically, it just says students don't feel like AI has diminished the value of college, which is really nice to hear. Most all of them want for their institutions to address academic integrity concerns, although they want them to be prescriptive, not reactive. So they want the schools to say, and here's how you should use AI well, and here's what makes sense, and right, those sorts of things, not so much like you're in trouble because you did it the wrong way. A lot of students are using AI for coursework, about 85%. The top 3 uses that students report are, first of all, brainstorming ideas, then asking it questions like a tutor, and then studying for exams and quizzes. Close behind that is using it like an advanced search engine, which I'll just say, once you learn how to use AI as a search engine, Google feels very dumb,
What? Yeah. Google's making you search, like, hunt
Keywords.
through their results.
Yeah, exactly. So it's interesting. They talk about faculty using generative AI for teaching and how they feel about that. Basically, they just don't want their faculty to be lazy. Very few students, when given the choice of how a higher education institution should engage with AI, I think 5% of students were like, don't say anything about it, which 5% seems high, but it's still very small, right? They want to have these conversations about what is ethical, how it's going to influence their work in the job market when they graduate. So a lot of interest around that, Matt. And this coming out of the University of Kentucky, I would really recommend that you guys look at this. They have a tool to help instructors and students communicate about expectations around the use of generative AI. So I think Bailey has that for you guys to look at. But for those of you who are joining us by podcast, you have like level 0, which is a sole author. Students complete all planning, thinking, outlining, drafting, analysis, creation, revision independently of AI. And so that's like, this is mine 100%. And then you have primary creator, which is where students generate all core ideas, prose, the overall structure, and the content, but they might use AI for specific limited tasks like organizing or proofreading. So I'm going to give you my paper, tell me where I can improve it. And then it goes all the way down to number 4, which is a project manager, which is where you're leveraging AI extensively for complex problem solving, synthesis, and innovation. This level requires advanced AI literacies and critical analysis skills. So this is where you put it in and you ask it a question, but then you have to know something about what you're doing so that you can spot the places where it's lying to you, so where you're like, that is not actually real. In fact, AI is the one who told me it was 15 hours to California instead of 22.
AI is pretty bad at math.
Pretty bad at math.
So I'm missing number 5, which is student as outsourcing to AI, right? Like, so you have the scale, but this has like AI working with number 5 ought to be like.
Yes, but I think this is a scale for good use of AI, right? Around expectations around the use. And I think what they would say is don't do number 5. It's not on here because
it ought to be on there so there's no ambiguity. It ought to be on there with a big X on it. As we were waiting in the airport to come home from Nebraska, there's a college student giving, I think her mom, the update. And she starts talking about students are using AI, right?
Yeah.
And the ways that they're using them and how professors are starting to be smart and counter that.
Yeah.
But I think if you really want to reduce any ambiguity to it, you got to have and don't do it this way.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, this is really interesting. I know this is hot and in the news, but one of a friend of my son's who goes to a school here works with a firm that is working with all the AIs, all the models, and he's going and he'll type in a prompt and get different results, and then he'll critique them. Like this one is there's a misspelling in this one. This one is inaccurate. This one did bad math, right? But it's interesting because at the end of him telling me about his work, all the work that he's done this summer, he ended it with, and I know it's kind of bad to be using it. Like, I know it's bad that I'm helping it out to get better. So
interesting.
And I mean, he's a good kid, good student, but it seems like we're kind of in this place where there's a little, even with students, uncertainty about, is this right?
That's probably good.
Yeah.
The student who was talking to her mom said, I'm really mad because even AI changes my photos. She's like, I know when I take a picture that whatever app she's taking it through, it's adjusting things. And she's like, but that's not real. And I'm like, I wanted to say that's not real, but I didn't. I minded my own business.
It's good.
So, okay, the last thing that I have for you is Crazy Town. This is coming out of the Washington Post. It's called The Time-Consuming and Expensive World of Luxury Dorm Decor, which I don't think happens a lot on our kind of campuses, but I just think it's really, really interesting. They're talking about in this article, especially in a lot of Southern schools where moms particularly are planning for a year to decorate their daughter's dorm room, although it is now spreading over into the male dorms as well. So we're talking about things like wallpaper, frame. Like, you remember how we had posters? No, they have framed art, monogram pillows. The budget for these things is like $5,000 to $10,000. I'm sorry, what? There's a whole company called the Love Shack Fancy Dorm Decor that sells, for example, shower curtains for $225, heart-shaped pillows for $115. I don't even know what to say about it. I will say it's been around for a long time. So at the turn of the 20th century, future President FDR lived in a Harvard dorm room with a maid service and room for an upright piano. Wow. Also, I sent to Bailey that in 1948, there was a national ad campaign by Bates Fabric, which was like a big deal, right? Like, it made curtains and sheets, and it was like the fanciest fabric that you could have. They did a campaign for college students, which had all of these students from like Yale and from Dartmouth, and featured the future president, George Herbert Walker, and Barbara Bush when they were college students, married college students living together. I mean, they were living together, but they were married. So I think this other QR code, if you want to look that up and see what that's like, there's a long line of how do we make our dorm rooms fancy, right? But the reason I think that this is an interesting article for student success is because it talks about how decor is a signifier. So if you think about, here's what it says. It says the type of people who decorate that way know what kinds of friends they want to make. The flouncy decorators, she said, are typically extroverts who plan to be part of Greek life on campus, and they come to college to befriend many similar people. A minimalist decorator, on the other hand, maybe is doing a major that's a little bit more analytical or into more niche activities. She added, it's almost like the Montagues and Capulets. They won't really interact even on the floor. Which, as I'm thinking about sense of belonging and messages that we're sending out, can you imagine being in a hall where everyone's room, they had $10,000 to deck out their room, and you show up like we did to college, which is like, I've got my pillow.
We found a couch on the street.
That's it. Yeah. So
really,
I don't know. I feel like there's maybe some, I would not be mad about rules of what you put in your dorm room in terms of, we don't want a college student like we just talked about, right? Who's a first generation college student who's showing up, who's taken out a bunch of loans, who's really committed to their education, showing up in a dorm room and being like, I do not fit here. I don't know why I'm
right
here.
Away.
Yeah. And also the other way, which is like, yeah, you don't fit here. I don't know why you're here. So.
I remember, it's a long story, but I helped when I was a freshman. I helped my friends move into their female res hall, and there was a mom who was measuring her daughter's room, and then went over and measured the room next door, and then wanted to know why her daughter's room was a few inches shorter. Like, she doesn't have as much square foot. I don't know why, but it was a huge deal, and that was back in the 90s. So
okay, listen, Matt, my charitable reading on that is that parents are stressed out and they're just trying to figure out how, but also, what are we teaching our kids?
And I think, Rachel, maybe that's at the heart of what you're saying about rules, but when I think about my kids going to college, what I want is for them to have a room that's like a setup that's welcoming, that's not about, I have $10,000 to spend on
it's not a display of wealth, right? We're not trying to display our wealth. We want you to have a place that you can live that's going to be comfortable, but I'm not trying to teach everybody, like, look at how much money I have, right?
Right.
Anyway, you and I have talked for a long time about this idea of actually, and I think we serve some colleges who do this, who are like, yeah, it's a place for you to sleep. we don't intend for you to do more here. Like, there's classes are the most important, and community space is important, and all of those other things are important. We're not in the business of excessive wealth in our dorms.
I'm going to tell you the most bougie thing I told my daughter Ella that she should buy this year. Okay. If I could go back and do anything over, and I think this makes sense, but I'm going to spend money on my dorm room. Where I'm going to spend it is the mattress.
I didn't even say to you. In this article, this woman bought a $470 mattress topper. And I was like, well.
I mean, but then they might actually go to bed. You know,
true.
That's a lot. But anything can make that mattress, anything that can make that mattress better, because that was terrible. Sure.
One thing that I really like about this article is they have interior designers who specialize in this. Like, you can pay them $3,000 plus your $10,000 budget and blah, blah, blah. But I will tell you that a couple of them in this article are like, also, we do 20 rooms for free. So you can enter in a drawing. We'll buy the stuff for you. You don't have to pay our cost. It's a way of us saying, like, hey, I know that not everyone can do this, but we want to get back. So that's a good way to make that crazy business a little bit better, but still. It's a lot.
Wow.
And I didn't even say this is all about TikTok. That's the premise of the entire article, is like, it's all about TikTok, moms wanting to put on TikTok. Here's what we did to my daughter's room. And
do they do what's that called when they unpack things and they talk about
unboxing?
Is that?
I don't know. I haven't seen them. I don't do TikTok. All right. That concludes our State of the Union. So I want to move on to the last thing that I have for us today. And this is a very exciting day because we are unveiling our Ferris Lighthouse Awards. We do this. Do you have something you want to say?
No. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm just excited.
We do this every year. The way we pick is we all get together and we talk about what's happened over the year, the clients that we've seen that are doing really remarkable work in lots of different areas. We kind of nominate them and we vote on it, and then we present this. It's an actual award that we give them, that we give to their supervisor, and then also we have a gift for them just to say thank you. It's so much fun to talk about these partners. I don't often get to talk about our superstar clients, and so this is a really fun day for us to be able to do that.
I'll tell you, for me, so of course this is a really fun day. But for me to go through and for us to talk about, for each of these categories, all of our schools, all of the things that are happening. So, I mean, there's a lot of really good work that is happening for students. Student success is alive and well, and so many great practices. It's just really honoring to be a part of that, kind of more humbling than anything to be a part of that. So a lot of really great stories. And for our recipients today.
And it's hard to choose. I think that's what you're saying, right? It's not like we're like, okay, well, I guess we're like, oh my gosh, we have so many great choices. So, okay. So we have a couple of different ones that I want to shout out, and I'm just going to tell you who these people are. We have quotes from them and their supervisors and from our team around them. But this is just a fun way for us to say we see the work that you're doing. So our very first one is our Outstanding Student Success Professional Award. I'm so thrilled to say that Lisa Watchman from Mars Hill gets this. She is just so incredible. From the time she started working with us, she's just laser focused on being exceptional. And so Rebecca, we asked Rebecca Green, who gets to work with Lisa pretty often, what she had to say. And she said, in my 20 years of higher education, Lisa stands out as one of the very best student success professionals I've had the privilege of working with. Since I started at Ferris, I've seen her consistently go above and beyond, always wanting to know the latest features and best practices to deliver truly holistic care for her students. Her dedication, expertise, and impact make her an outstanding choice for Student Success Professional of the Year, which I would like to double down on, because I will tell you, Matt, we do our spotlight sessions in the spring. Lisa has come to the entire cycle twice. So she did it this past spring and the spring before. She's always like, that was new. I'm going to write that one down. And is just incredible in building a team and really like facilitating student success work. So our friend Dave Roseboom, he's the VP for Student Life at Mars Hill. He said, I cannot think of a person more passionate about the successful journey of students than Lisa Watchman. She exemplifies what it means to holistically walk with students. I'm proud of how she's helped transform so many lives throughout her career at MHU. So yay, Lisa.
Yay, Lisa. And what I would say, thank you, Dave, because Lisa has, if you think about from the time we started working with her, she's never stopping. It's like she is transforming. And it's like she gets to a place and it's good. And she's like, I've got this next level. I can't wait for their retention results to come in because they're looking remarkable. But it all starts with people who are so passionate.
Yeah.
And she just never stops. Even when she breaks her foot, there's just nothing's going to stop Lisa making an impact on our campus.
I appreciate that she's willing to do the hard work, right? Because learning something new in technology or learning how to do something in student success that you haven't done before, there's this place where it's hard because you're adjusting to what you're doing. And she's just tireless in being committed to, all right, Rachel, tell me the best way to do it. And that's how we're going to start doing it. And I'm going to learn my craft really well. So I'm thrilled to be able to present Lisa to you guys. Right. All right. The next one we have is our Outstanding Data Applications Professional Award. This one is so important because, our IT, they have their fingers in everything. They're doing so many things. Everyone wants their attention. They're wearing so many different hats. And to have an IT person who is committed to student success, who actually sees their job not detached from students, but as a facilitator of student success is not always, we don't always have that at our schools. And it's so important when you're talking about how to be successful in this technology piece. So our winner of the Outstanding Data and Applications Professional Award is Ralph Sebastian at Albion College. Rebecca said he has been an absolute joy to work with. His passion for supporting his colleagues and students shine through in everything he does. He approaches his work with energy and curiosity, and his enthusiasm for seeing how his data efforts empower his team to serve students better is really refreshing. His dedication and enthusiasm make him an ideal choice for this year's award. So, Ralph, thank you so much. It is a pleasure to work with great IT people. It changes the entire implementation process. We asked the Albion's Director of Information Technology, Eric Beadle, to say a few words about Ralph, and here's what he said. Ralph is an invaluable member of the team, consistently demonstrating his strength as a calm, patient, and knowledgeable employee. His unflappable demeanor is a significant asset, especially during high-pressure situations when a tight deadline is looming. He approaches challenges with a level head, which helps him maintain a positive and productive work environment for everyone around him. Furthermore, his patience is evident in his interactions with his colleagues and clients. He takes time to listen, provide thorough explanations, and guide others without frustration, making him a go-to person for training and problem solving. This patience, combined with his deep knowledge of the field, makes him an exceptionally reliable and effective resource. Thank you, Eric. What a great thing to have your supervisor say about you. So super fun.
Well, I love the emphasis. So it's not just the technical chops, but it's also this approach to solving problems, to handling people and stress. And so we've definitely seen that in Ralph and appreciate him. It is so good. And, when you have someone who is just all of those things, everything that Eric said about him, when you can work with someone like that, it just makes your day on our side, just makes it so much better. But I know for the practitioners, they just feel so much relief knowing that they have a person who's on their team working really hard because they have the same goal of student success. So thank you, Ralph.
Thank you. Okay, our next one is the Institution of the Year Award. So super happy to name Wartburg College as our Institution of the Year. They just have killed it when it's come to student success and all of these little pieces. As Rebecca was reflecting on them, she said, we're so delighted to honor Wartburg. Their approach to student success demonstrates exceptional leadership in transforming campus culture through strategic intervention practices. Their commitment to fostering meaningful connections between students, faculty, and staff has created an environment where students can thrive. What sets Wartburg apart is its dedication to continuous improvement and its ability to adapt innovative solutions that address unique needs of its campus community. They represent the very best of what higher education can achieve when institutions prioritize holistic student development. So I don't know, Matt, I have so many things I can say about Wartburg. They are just so eager to get in and to make a difference. And there's not a lot of talking about what we should do. There's a lot of doing, which I really, really appreciate. And I think to a person, people are like, tell us what's the best way to do it, or here's our idea of how can we adapt this to what we're already doing. Lindsay Leonard, who is an amazing vice president of student life and the dean of students at Wartburg, said, "We are so proud of our community for the ways that they've leaned in to our new technology, embracing change and prioritizing holistic student support. We are especially grateful to our lead system administrator, our IT staff, and our partners at Ferris 360 for the time and attention to stand up a new system in such a short time. Truly an incredible feat. We look forward to continuous learning and application of 360 features and developing additional habits of practice that lead to student success." So thank you, Lindsay. Yes.
Thank you, Lindsay. And I would just say one thing that I love about Wartburg. So the conversations that I've had with them, it isn't about what we're going to do, it's what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's the way they lean into it, right? So it's very exactly what you said, but they are in it. And also they are working very hard to bridge the gap for the student experience to be one holistic approach instead of it being just an academic thing or a student life thing. They are really working hard to bridge that gap between those two sides of the institution. So congratulations, Wartburg, on being our institution of the year.
Excellent. Okay, a few more for you. So retention intelligence, you guys have heard me interview Viva Gore, who's our director of retention intelligence. She's incredible. You've met Cameron Branch. She's also incredible. So we have a retention intelligence leader award, which this is about a school who is really taking that data, making sense of it, acting on it, using it to inform their campus. Matt, you and I, it is so fun when we go to a campus that uses retention intelligence and they're like, we know this is the area where our students retain best from, or we know this is a population that we've got to create a system for. And this school has just done a remarkable job. So McMurray University is our retention intelligence leader. I think about Jennifer and Cindy and their whole team there. They've done such a great job. Cameron from Retention Intelligence said, McMurray is dedicated to improving student outcomes with the insight provided through retention intelligence. They act on their data by using it to inform decisions and create strategies to support their students best. They are guided by a passion for service, and their team reflects the heart of this award. So congratulations, McMurray. You guys are doing a great job at taking that data and making it actionable, which is why it's called Spark, our Spark reports, because what we hope is it sparks conversation and action around student success. So great job.
That's great.
Okay.
They are a leader. Yeah,
they're incredible. All right, we also have our Emerging Leader Award, which is all about potential and momentum. So we think about our new clients, we look at what they've done in the short time that they've been with us, really looking for how they've built something really remarkable over a short amount of time. So super happy to tell you that Missouri Baptist University, MOBAP as we call it, has won our Innovation Award, Emerging Leader Award. Yeah.
Right.
What?
Say that again.
Which part?
Missouri Baptist has been recognized as our
emerging leader.
All right. That's,
Okay. When asked about the award, John Hessel, who's our Missouri Baptist VP for Student Development and Dean of Students, said, "We are truly humbled to receive this recognition. One of our goals at Missouri Baptist University is to provide transformational student experiences that focus on and support the whole student, not just part of who they are. This award reflects the passion and work of my student development team and the incredible buy-in from our campus partners across the university. I am so grateful for our partnership with Ferris, whose support has helped us accomplish our mission and vision more effectively. Most of all, I am proud of the meaningful work we are accomplishing together to strengthen student success across our campus, which you guys, John did a webinar with me about how he has built out their system, which they call Spartan Connect. I cannot recommend it highly enough. He's just articulated so well all of the ways that he got buy-in across campus. I was asking Shauna about this because she just finished implementation with them, and she said, "It is a true joy to work with MOBAP. John Hessel and his remarkable team care about their students and consistently strive for excellence. Our partners at MOBAP have demonstrated thoughtfulness and an unwavering commitment to student success. John's leadership in fostering full campus buy-in of Spartan Connect Affairs 360 platform was especially inspiring. He provided a master class in building meaningful collaboration across campus, and his willingness to share that expertise with his peers has made him an invaluable resource. MOBAP is most deserving of this prestigious Affairs Lighthouse Award. We look forward to witnessing their continued success and innovation in advancing student success." So very happy to award MOBAP, Missouri Baptist University, our Emerging Leader Award. And it's just so rewarding to watch, right? We laughed in the webinar we did with John. It's like a slow start because he's doing all of this foundation work. He's building all of these partnerships and collaboration and all of that. But then once you've done all of that work, it's just like a rocket. It just takes off and everybody's on the same page, and there's so much collaboration that goes on there. So that's super fun.
What I love about John is, I remember the first time I met John at a conference, and it was like instant connection. And the thing that I would say is he just had the vision, and it was like, this is what we're doing. It's going to take me a while because I want to build that collaboration across campus, but this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And
why?
And so just very intentional. And I love seeing that and seeing them be recognized as the emerging leader.
For sure. Congratulations, you guys. Okay. Our last one that we have. So we're always looking for, actually, I don't think that's true, Matt. I think I skipped one. I did. No wonder Bailey was confused. Yeah. She's like, you missed one.
Surprise.
So our last two are around intervention leaders. We look at all sorts of different interventions, whether it's accessibility services, which is the award we gave out last year to Mary Harn Baylor. We think about career services, any sort of office on campus that is doing an intervention with their students. So our first intervention leader is around student conduct. It is Missouri Southern State University, who's really invested in student conduct and how that can be about growth and support. Rebecca reminded us that their residence life team has just demonstrated exceptional commitment to comprehensive student support through their thoughtful and collaborative approach to incident management. Their use of Pivot, our conduct platform, has led to meaningful interventions that genuinely support student growth and community well-being. MSSU exemplifies the kind of innovative student-centered leadership that makes a lasting impact on campus culture. Fun fact about Missouri Southern State is that they were our very, very first client ever at Ferris, still with us. That is 13 years. They've been with us 13 years.
17 years.
No!
So listen, right about now, we started having that conversation with them 17 years ago.
That's incredible.
And so Faustina at Missouri Southern, there are features embedded in 360 that came from our first conversations with Faustina,
and Kelly
our earliest work.
Yeah. So congratulations, you guys. This is fun because it's like a second wave, right? You do an exceptional job with student success, but then also pulling that out into student conduct, I think, is really remarkable.
And that's what I was going to say, Rachel. What's really neat about Missouri Southern is you think about generations of workers, those who have on their campus, they call it Line Alert. If you think about all the different people on their campus who have used our system, but it started in a first year experience office and it's just grown. And so they're also kind of a model for not being stagnant, right? Like, what are other ways that we can be challenged and use this? And so being able to use it in a student growth perspective for conduct is really powerful.
For sure. Okay, and then our last one, also an Intervention Leader Award coming out of advising. So this award for advising goes to Nuria Hall from Hardin-Simmons University. When we asked Gracie Carroll, who's the Associate VP for Academic Advising, about this award and Nuria Hall specifically, she said, HSU is truly blessed to have Nuria Hall join the Advising Center's team. Implementing a new advising model has met with some challenges, but Nuria, with her years of experience, continues to be an instrumental force, offering great insight and recommendations. She also reintroduced our team to Beacon, which is what they call FAIRS 360, and how the features can serve our needs in the advising world. Nuria's knowledge and her superb problem-solving skills will positively impact our processes and the success of our new advising model. And then Rebecca said, Nuria's passion for student success transforms everything she touches. Through innovative strategies and deep insight into students' needs, she's revolutionized advising at HSU with interventions that create meaningful, lasting change. Her collaborative spirit and extensive in-depth advising experience make her invaluable resource to her colleagues, while her unwavering dedication ensures every student has the opportunity to thrive. This honor celebrates not only her exceptional leadership, but the profound impact she continues to have on her entire campus community. So congratulations, Nuria. Matt and I both worked with Nuria at our old institution, and I will tell you, when I had an advising question, Nuria is the one that I would call. She always knew not just the degree planning piece, but also all of the resources that we had that we could offer to students. So I'm thrilled for her to be at Hardin-Simmons, lending her expertise there and engaging with those students. So congratulations, Nuria. We're thrilled to be able to give you the Intervention Leader Award around academic advising. Anything you want to say to that one?
No, just love Nuria and her heart. And also, I mean, she's pretty enthusiastic about, how technology should not be the boss of you.
Yes.
It should help you. It should not be the boss of you. It should be a resource, not the thing that you every morning dread coming and working with. And it makes me really happy knowing that that's her philosophy, that she likes working with us.
Nice. All right, you guys, those are our 2025 Lighthouse Awards. So happy to be able to talk about those superstars. Matt, I say all the time, we just have wonderful clients, and it's always nice to spend time with them. Rebecca has phone calls with them all the time. When I get to join a meeting or when I get to be on campus, it's just, they're delightful people. They're really fun to be able to spend time with. So thrilled to be able to give those awards. Anything you want to say before I give a lineup of what's going to happen this semester?
Well, I mean, that's a great way to start cap and gown. We've got some, as we're getting acclimated to the start of this academic year with the State of the Union, and then a reflection of this past year and some really great work. And so that's a great way to kick it off, Rachel.
Awesome. So we actually are going to we'll do our cap and gown next week. So don't miss that one. We're going to continue our slow productivity, which, remember, is our book of the year. So we will continue that one. I think just so many good conversations, and I think super helpful for our practitioners. So then we will take a week off, and then coming back, I'm going to have a guest, Suzette Parker, who's going to talk to us about her program around how we increase our students' mental health, how we give them tools for managing their lives and understanding what stress does. So I think it'll be really, really interesting, especially in light of this article we've just done about how students are feeling really overwhelmed. I think sometimes you need sort of a lower hanging content to be able to give students, instead of them having to meet with their counselors all the time, that there's actually some education we can give them so that they can be successful even apart from the counseling piece. So anything you want to add before I call this meeting adjourned? Hey,
it's a new academic year and we're super excited. Thanks for joining us today. We're looking forward to this whole year of cap and gown. And thanks for those of you who have joined us for the past 5 seasons. It's kind of incredible. I gave a little shout out on LinkedIn to Anthony Melchiori and our work. If you aren't familiar, you should go to YouTube and watch some of those early episodes, because I think they still hold up today.
Yeah, for sure. All right, friends. Thanks for spending time with us. Have a great day. Bye.